I don't think there's anything that can prepare anybody for that kind of carnage.
People were shocked, they were awed, and they couldn't turn away.
In the early 1990s, the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin was rocked by a string of gruesome killings that would shock the world. The perpetrator, Jeffrey Dahmer, would go on to become one of the most notorious serial killers in history. But the real story behind his crimes is not just about a madman, but also about the failure of the Milwaukee Police Department to stop him. This is a story about the negligence of the Milwaukee police that allowed him to continue his killing spree for 13 long years. Between 1978 and 1991, Dahmer terrorized the city by killing and mutilating 17 young men and boys. He carried out unspeakable acts of violence, cannibalism, and necrophilia. But what makes this story even more disturbing is the fact that the Milwaukee police were made aware of Dahmer's actions multiple times, yet failed to take appropriate action. In this episode, we'll take a closer look at the Milwaukee Police Department's role in the Dahmer killings and how their actions, or lack thereof, allowed this monster to continue his reign of terror for far too long. Jeffrey Dahmer was a manipulative monster, and while he carried out his horrific acts, Milwaukee was a city on edge. Reports of missing young men and boys were increasing, and the police were at a loss as to what was happening. But it wasn't until a desperate man came forward that the city would learn the truth. Tracy Edwards was a young man who had been lured by Dahmer and was able to escape his grasp. With injuries sustained in the struggle, Edwards flagged down a police car and told them what had happened. The Milwaukee Police Department responded by sending 2 officers to Dahmer's apartment. What they found was a scene of unspeakable horror, with body parts and evidence of cannibalism scattered throughout the apartment. But how did the Milwaukee Police Department miss the signs that a serial killer was in their midst? The answer lies in their handling of several key incidents. One night after killing his first victim, Stephen Hicks, a 17-year-old Jeffrey Dahmer dismembered his victim and put the body parts in a few black garbage bags. While driving to dispose of the bags, Dahmer was then pulled over by Milwaukee police. An officer asked Dahmer a few questions and smelled alcohol from him.
Smell from here, you've been drinking, okay?
He later also noticed the garbage bags and asked Dahmer about them.
What's in the garbage bags?
Dahmer convinced the officer that he was going through rough times because of his parents' divorce and that he had been doing some gardening work and was on his way to throw out the trash. The officer believed his story, let him go with a warning, and failed miserably that night. The most shocking incident happened in 1986. A young man named Conorak Synthesomphone was found wandering in the streets in a daze. He was naked and badly beaten. When police arrived on the scene, Dahmer claimed that Synthesomphone was his lover and that they had just had a lover's spat.
Yes, sir. This is my boyfriend.
Despite the young man's obvious distress and pleas for help, police handed him back over to Dahmer. Just a few hours later, Synthesomphone was dead. This was just one of several missed opportunities by the Milwaukee police to stop Dahmer. In 1991, a neighbor called the police to report strange noises coming from Dahmer's apartment. The police arrived, but again, they failed to properly investigate and left the scene without finding anything suspicious. This was not the only time the Milwaukee police had a chance to stop Jeffrey Dahmer. In another instance, the police received several reports about strange and foul smells coming from his apartment, but failed to investigate the matter. And even after the discovery of Dahmer's crimes, the Milwaukee Police Department's handling of the investigation was plagued by mistakes and missteps. Evidence was mishandled, and crucial information was not followed up on. It's clear that the Milwaukee Police Department failed in its duty to protect the citizens of the city. Their negligence allowed a monster to roam free and take the lives of 17 innocent young men and boys. An investigation was launched, and it was revealed that the Milwaukee police had indeed failed to follow proper protocols and procedures, which allowed Jeffrey Dahmer to continue his killing spree. The police officers involved were disciplined, and the Milwaukee Police Department took measures to improve their procedures to prevent such failures from happening again in the future. The story of Jeffrey Dahmer and the Milwaukee Police Department's handling of his crimes is a cautionary tale of what can happen when law enforcement fails to take the necessary actions to protect their communities. Jeffrey Dahmer was tried and convicted of 17 counts of murder and sentenced to 16 consecutive life terms in prison. But the story did not end there. The families of the victims and the survivors demanded answers from the Milwaukee police about why they failed to stop Jeffrey Dahmer from continuing his killing spree. The families of the 17 victims will never see justice fully served, but it's important that we remember their lives and the horrific circumstances in which they were taken. The residents of Milwaukee will never forget the terror that gripped their city and the lives that were lost because of the police's inaction. This case serves as a reminder of what can happen when the justice system fails and the importance of holding law enforcement accountable for their actions. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe for more future content, and check out the next video in front of you. See you there.